I'm sensitive to these sounds. Plant down and lotus and attempt to ground. Knowing if I fail to lift the veil, I'm hellbound. Journey through the fate of all the hate I found. Done laying out the laments for these lames, big clowns. We can still throw down pound for pound if you choose to drag my name through the mud with no bounds. Scars go deep, but the passion can shift. Trying to find a balance between anger and bliss. Searching for my purpose when success is a myth. I thought I knew the gist of the plot, but it came with a twist. Had it all mapped out, but none of the pieces fit. Abandonment issues got me doing the split. Realizing I didn't really need what I wish. Got sick of getting tricked into giving the devil a kiss. Welcome to the side of hell. They got me under a spell. Story to tell as soon as I break out of this shell. Welcome to the side of hell. They got me on.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah and welcome to Portal to the Paranormal, and you're watching Thriller Live podcast. This evening we have a very special guest. He is founder of Ghost Contact Paranormal, a mixed blood descendant from Hispanic, Aztec, English, Mohawk ancestry. His name is Ben Strongwolf Rodriguez. He has a real passion for the paranormal, filming and investigating, all the way from Holt, Michigan. Let's welcome Ben, shall we?
Hey everyone, how you doing today?
Hi Ben.
Hey, I'm glad to be on here. This is a real treat for me. So, yeah, I'm good. I got a few things I'm going to show everyone, but let's just do the intro, and I'm really thrilled to be here.
Well, it's been a while since we spoke, isn't it? Because we had you on about a year and a half ago. I think I Facebook stalked you for a while and saw what you had going on, because, you know, you got so much culture going on in your background as well. And you're a really, really intriguing fella. And plus, all the stuff you got going around, you're Michigan, aren't you? Michigan, have I said that right?
Yes. Yep. There's definitely a lot of activity here in this state. We actually had a team not too far from where we were that actually was from Ireland, so that was kind of cool to see them.
Oh. So did you want to go through what you had to show us first, and then I'll throw a few questions in between?
Yeah. So we use a whole variety of different stuff. When I started my team, I was actually a skeptic, but I had a background in film, and my spouse, she's co-founder of our team. Her name is Beth Rodriguez. She was the one that truly had a passion for the paranormal in the beginning. She got me watching a lot of the ghost shows that were on TV and stuff like that, and so I thought it was kind of intriguing. I'm like, you know what? I bet you I could put a production like that together. This was early on in 2018. But it wasn't really till 2019 that we got started doing that. So I started investing in some cameras, recruiting people for our team, and it just took off from there. So I started investigating primarily here in Michigan, but we started actually, as of last year, started going to other states here in the U.S. So.
Are you more of a gadget guy when it comes to equipment?
Yes, I'm definitely more of the tech guy, gadget guy, camera guy. I'm always trying to direct my team on, how to get the best angles and things like that. So.
And what's your favorite bit of equipment?
Camera. The camera for me is the best piece of equipment that any paranormal investigator can have. So.
There's nothing better than capturing a full-on MFG, is there? Ghost.
Yep. Which we did last year.
Oh, wow. Go on, do tell. Spill the beans.
Yeah, we caught excuse me, I had a tongue twister. We caught our first full-body apparition last year. We were investigating the Randolph County Asylum in Winchester, Indiana. That place has a lot of activity in it. But one of the things I like to have my team do whenever we go on an investigation is I'll have a group go outside the building and do panning shots of the inside from the outside. and we caught a full body apparition standing in one of the rooms that nobody was in.
Wow.
So I always make sure I know where our team is, so there's no contamination, and or try to be like, okay, could that be one of our team members? No, this was a full body apparition.
Oh.
And,
Oh, it's exciting when it happens, doesn't it?
yeah, my first impression was a nun. It looked like a nun to me. It had the black hood with the white stripe, and so that was the first thing that I thought of. Was could this have been like a nun or a nurse or something like that? So
Because there's a history of a place as well. You've got to look into what could have been there, and I guess there could have been a religious impact there, or there could have been like and like the nurses, obviously, if it's a
yeah, it started off as a poor farm. This building was built back in the 1800s. The original building burnt down like in 1904 or something like that, and they built another structure on top of the old foundation. And it then turned into, I believe, it's called an asylum. But the owners of the building don't actually consider it an asylum. I guess it was more of just a place that housed people that couldn't take care of themselves, kind of like a poor farm, I guess.
yeah. So in my search, my Google search of Ben Strongwolf Rodriguez, shall I say, I read an article in the Lansing State Journal on you guys. You got about a bit, haven't you? Locations. And I just wanted to touch on that for a little bit. The riverbed natural area where Janet Kirby in 1986, the murder there. Did you pick up anything on that?
Yes, this is one of the areas that turned me from a skeptic to a believer. I just got a brand new camera from Amazon, and I really wanted to try it. And there was this park that I literally 10 minutes from my home that I would go to and investigate here and there. And I knew the place. I knew the history. There was a woman that was murdered back in the 80s. At that place, and it took 12 years before they found the murderer, and it made it like a national cold case. It made I don't know if it made world news, but it definitely made national news back in the 80s. And so they did a TV show, Forensic Files, on the murder of Jeanette Kirby. So I've gone to that woods many times growing up as a kid, just walking. Nobody ever expected that place to have any activity. But I just got my camera and I'm walking out there and I'm painting. I decide to ask a few questions. One of the questions I asked is, I would like to know if your spirit is out here. The moment I asked that, a female came through my camera and whispered, and just went like, yeah, just like that. I'm in the woods by myself, so I can't. There's no way to debunk it as contamination or anything. And I didn't hear anything with my own ears. It wasn't until I went back and I reviewed the footage that I heard that whisper come through, and I about fell out of my chair when I heard it.
Yeah. Imagine if you heard it out there. You would have had to change your pants.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that definitely turned me to a believer after that. So.
Jeez. And there's also, so could you tell us if I read the Bruce Mansion in Brown City? Was that any good? I'm just spinning off a few of them. If you want to go through a load of them, I'd love to hear about them.
Oh yeah. Bruce Mansion was one that was kind of a letdown for us. We didn't have much activity happen. So a couple people on our team had some personal experiences happen. But I don't know if you Google Bruce Mansion, Brown City, it has the total haunted house look to it. People are always commenting when they drive by it, oh, it looks like the Addams Family house, So yeah, we went in there. We always, when we go to investigation, always make sure we get permission. we're not a team that goes around and just kind of sneaks into a place. That gives a lot of paranormal investigators a bad name when people start doing that. So we always make sure we go ahead and get permission before we go into any location. And yeah, we set up all our cameras. We have up to 20 cameras now. So by the way, we have 20 cameras that we can just flood a building with. Yeah, there was not a lot that happened that night, unfortunately.
Was it all kitted out with all the antiques and all the original fixtures and fittings? Because sometimes the history of place and also all the stuff that's still the original gear that's in there, it brings some sort of energy to the place.
Right. And what's always going through my head is what can I do differently than another team that might go in there prior to us, or before us, places like that, get investigated every weekend. Every weekend there's a different team, and sometimes some locations book up almost a year in advance before you can get in there. Yes. And so you think, well, what can I do differently than other teams that might change the what the spirit will do. You can imagine being a spirit, right? And every week this ghost hunting team comes in there, asks you the same routine questions over and over again, and that spirits can be like, "Oh, here we go again."
We ask them questions like, "Would you like a cup of tea or a cigarette or something relating to what they might like in that era?" Oh, someone's asked questions. So, Mr. Cartwright Aaron says, "Hi, do you use your I was just getting to that, Mr. Cartwright. Do you use your native background in your investigations?" So, yeah, well, I want to dive into a little bit of it because you have got Mohawk in you, haven't you? And Aztec.
Yep.
I have been doing I've been doing my homework on page 2. I was going to ask some questions. So there's ceremonies, isn't there? Festivals, dances, and there's a lot of gods in a Native American, isn't there? Is there any? Can you enlighten us a little bit on what you might have in your background?
As far as spirituality goes, I do kind of correlate that with my investigating. When I go on to investigation, my mind is like 100%, caught up on, setting up equipment and things like that. Yeah. It's like a full-time, I'm running around like a crazy person. So setting up equipment, not a lot of time I get to really, get the chance to take the time to dive into the spirituality part. When investigating, unless on occasion, if I get like a free day when I'm not working and there's a place I want to just go walk around with a camera for a little bit, I'll do some solo investigations during the day, and I'll just kind of like soak up nature and things like that. We do a lot of investigations in the woods, just as much as we investigate buildings, we'll investigate a haunted woods near us, So, but as far as, using my spirituality, I guess, that for me is just more of something I kind of keep separate from the paranormal.
Yeah.
I am a tribal dancer. I dance all over the state. I don't do competition dancing. I'm more traditional. Places, where I go, I meet with some friends, that, I've known for 20, 30 years, going to the powwows. They're fun. They're just kind of like an outdoor thing, and, it's open to the public. People set up vendor booths all over the place, and it's like a craft show, and there's dancing and singing, and it's a good time.
Do Mohawks believe in a paranormal world? I know they believe in a spiritual kind of earth, wind, and fire, and there's like I was looking at something like legends, the myths of the sisters and sky women and things like that. I guess there's folklore, isn't there?
Yeah, it's like folklore. You know, it's stories that help get people through tough times. You know, there's stories that are meant to guide you in life.
Yeah.
Somebody has a story, that would correlate with something that's happening in their world, and they can use that story to help guide them.
Tom Johnson, I was watching on YouTube earlier. He was talking about the witch's light. Have you heard of that one?
I haven't.
Oh, it was these guys went out for a good time, and the grandmother warned them not to and said they'd be in trouble. And then they were at the Six Nations, I think it was called Six Nations. And they got followed back by this light, and it was getting closer and closer, and they were all wetting themselves. They were all terrifying. And they got home and they told their grandmother about it. She goes, well, that's the witch's light, and if there's any trouble about, she'll be about watching you. And apparently it's like native folklore. So I was brushing myself up, Ben. I was ready to come at you with it,
Yeah. I don't live on a reservation, so
No.
I call myself a city Indian, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm 600 miles away from where my ancestors were from. So, and being mixed blood, my ancestors traveled a lot. So,
yeah, I get that. I'm half Philippines, half Irish. So it's watered down a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you feel any psychic ability? Are you sensitive at all?
The more I'm in the paranormal and the more I do investigations, the more my abilities are growing. I've had mediums tell me, you have gifts, you need to find out what they are, do some meditating, try to get your chakras balanced, and figure out what gifts they can't. The medium that I worked with wouldn't tell me what my gifts were. She said I had to find them out for myself, which is really good. And I got to thinking, a lot of times I'll have these weird like daydreams, but I never really knew what they meant or anything. For instance, I was investigating. There's a place just to the west of me called the Fitzgerald Park, and it's a place where they have big rocks, and there's this trail that goes between rock cliff on one side and a lake on the other side. Oh, I'm sorry, not a lake, but a river.
Yeah.
So I'm walking this trail, and I start picking up on on changes in it's hard to say. I'm going to say energy, I guess. Changes in energy. Sure enough, I come around this bend and I see somebody had put flowers up and like a grave marker of somebody that died there. And so I saw the name engraved into it's soft limestone. So somebody engraved the person's name right in there. And so I'm thinking, you know what? I'll sit here. I'll set my camera down. I'll conduct a little EVP session, see if I can get anything. Totally didn't get nothing. But while I'm sitting there, I start getting this kind of like a vision in my head of this guy that jumps off the rock to try to dive into the water, and he falls straight down into the rocks below. I was also, because I had a camera set up on my phone too, and I was live on Facebook while this was all going on, and somebody replied, "Well, that's exactly how he died."
Gee.
And like, did I just? And it just came to me like somebody plugged in. You watch the movie The Matrix. When they plug in stuff in the back of your head and download It came in to me like just like a download, but I'm just sitting there and it was more like a daydream.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, maybe I do have some sort of gifts here. Is it? I don't know what they call that, clairsentient or something like that, or there's
Feel it.
something like that.
Yeah. So,
So,
what have you got round Michigan that you can investigate? So, a few. There's Greystones Manor. Is that far? What other locations have you got? Just to give us a heads up.
Greystone Manor is actually one of our first out-of-state investigations. That one is actually in Gasport, New York. That place has a lot of activity, and we went there specifically because the homeowner reached out to us on Facebook, and kind of gave us, like a discount. She had like an opening because I was asking on Facebook if there was anybody that had an opening for an investigation. She's like, we do. So I'm like, well, okay, we could set that up. And so it's kind of like a last minute thing. We all went up to Gasport, New York. It was an 8-hour trip, but the activity there was quite intense.
Wow.
We caught this. There was actually some gravestones on the property, but we caught this really heavy bird feeder. It was like one of those really old style. It was like metal, solid metal bird feeder, just whipping around, and then it would stop and it would start whipping around again.
Jeez.
And we thought it could this be the wind, but there was no way it was the wind because there was another bird feeder on another branch on the same tree that was plastic, and it was holding still the whole time. So how's this big heavy metal one whipping around like crazy, and the plastic one just staying completely still? And so one of the things that I like to bring on my investigations is we have this pair of binocular cameras.
Yeah.
This thing can see almost up to a mile in complete darkness. And so I bring this. It's like, I think like Army grade or military grade. And so we had this set up on a tripod. And I had it shooting into the field there. And I actually caught some UFO activity out there.
Oh, wow.
Here I am on a ghost investigation. I'm catching UFO activity with this thing. Now, that's stuff that I don't really believe in, but it was really weird. And it's on my YouTube channel, Ghost Contact Paranormal. And it's weird. It looks like the whole tree line, which the tree line, I'm going to say about 700 feet into the field, about a quarter mile away probably. And there's this big strobing on the whole tree line, and it's in infrared. I'm trying to figure out what the heck can cause such a massive strobe on the whole tree line like that. It would take something massive to emit that much infrared. The first thing that came to my mind is, gosh, this is like Skinwalker Ranch sort of stuff. I don't know if you ever seen that show.
I've seen a few, yeah. Yeah. Jeez. Oh, Mr. Cartwright's back on here, and he's asked, what are your thoughts on evil entities? Have you ever come across any evil entities? It's a bit...
Yes. In fact, we're going to be investigating at the end of the month a place that's supposedly going to have a lot of evil entities. I'm kind of anxious about going there, but so far I haven't encountered much as far as really, really evil. But there's a place called the Collingwood Art Center in Toledo, Ohio. And some people did some very bad things in the basement. You can see, pentagrams on the floor with blood handprints encased in this thing, and people showing pictures of like this creature with a skeleton features, and so I'm a little hesitant about going there because apparently it's really intense. So, but it's a big structure. I mean, if you Google Collingwood Art Center, Toledo,
Oh,
Ohio,
wow.
it's a massive structure. So
I think the word demonic gets thrown around quite a lot, doesn't it? And usually it's just a pissed off spirit, or just if they're bad as a human, they're usually bad in the dead. They're not really.
right.
Yeah, so it's
Now
a rarity.
we've encountered pissed off spirits before. One our medium that we brought on our team got punched in the stomach by a
Gee,
angry spirit. Was it demonic? I don't. We didn't really perceive it to be that, but um, and going back to the Riverbend Natural area where I was talking to you earlier about.
yeah.
I don't know our medium. He sometimes I don't know because he's big. He's like 6'7", so he's a tall guy. Um, and I don't know if spirits or get angry with him or whatever, but every time he's got his DVR recorder with him, he gets spirits cussing at him. And so I had this camera right here set up on a post, and I was over talking with Garth, and it was just sitting there recording, and we're probably a good 100 feet away from it. I mean, you can hear us talking in the background, and all of a sudden this female spirit came through. So I don't know if it's the same spirit, but she goes "fuck you" really loud.
They do that.
I'm like, oh, dang, she was not happy with somebody.
You got all the gear, haven't you, Ben?
Oh yeah. So I got it all on the table with me right here. We use everything from a little police camera that we can mount to our body. This one I keep myself because that's a $1,500 camera.
No one's touching that.
and I've had team members drop cameras before, so that one stays with me.
You're out the team. You drop that camera.
We use this one in the woods a lot. This is literally a snappy camera, a little snappy, and it's hooked up. I got it mounted to a spotlight.
Oh, why not? That works, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we use that in the woods. This is it's off right now, but it's a thermal imaging camera.
Yeah, they're pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah.
I like them better than the ones that do all the stick figures.
Yep. We got Boo Buddy.
Run Bear.
Yeah. And then this is probably my most expensive thing. I had it custom made by Bill Chappell from Ghost Adventures. He custom made that. It's an Ovilus.
Yeah.
And he's got a website where you can go and have custom made paranormal equipment, digital dowsing or something like that. But
have you seen the ones they have smoke and then they have the laser grid pens that stream through it, and the spirit can come through the light show and the smoke at the same time? Have you seen those ones?
I haven't. That's interesting.
I think there's a flickering mirror as well that helps with the light beams, but I don't know. I think that just seems like it's maybe a bit too much.
Yeah.
It creates like a laser grid in the smoke, and stuff can just come through the smoke, and you can see spirits like that. It looked interesting when our investigator Joe put hers on, but I think you could either vape through it, which would take a hell of a lot of vaping, or you just buy one of them smoke canisters.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Do you use any natural stuff like scrying with water? Sometimes they can just touch the water, or Ouija boards. Do you do things like that?
We usually don't mess with Ouija boards. We've heard a lot of bad stuff can come out of those, so we try to typically stay away from Ouija boards. I haven't tried scrying, but I've thought about trying that before. we've had a situation. We investigated a place. This guy reached out to us as a residential case. This is actually just about a month or so ago, and he had a trailer. So I mean, I literally investigated a trailer in a trailer park. This guy was getting pinned to his bed
Oh shit.
every night. And he said that the spirits were attacking him in a sexual way.
Oh right.
Anyways, when I was investigating, he had a whole bunch of mirrors in his house. So I don't know, it had like a funhouse effect. But these mirrors were like, when they would join each other, they would create this like little black pole that would go through the air. And like, that's, you got a straight up portal going on right here.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. Yeah, and that's an incubus that does that. And you usually you have mental health issues and it leads to death, apparently. Not trying to scaremonger.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to get that out. Big time.
So I did a huge cleansing of his place by myself. Somehow I was able to get it out. I took his mirrors down. And he says that he hasn't had anything else happen ever since.
Oh, good.
Yeah. When I was taking one of the mirrors out, it shattered, and one of the shards I actually encased in a frame and gave to my friend. He's opening a haunted museum here in Lansing, actually tomorrow.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm going to be on another podcast tomorrow. And one of the things that they're putting in there is that shard from that trailer. And I've had a lot of people say that there's some activity inside that shard. They get a very uneasy feeling around it.
Best place to investigate are museums. If you did a night investigation there with all them haunted artifacts and stuff like that, that could be really lively. And plus, it could be like we got a research centre called the Paranormal Research Centre, and it's full of antiques and stuff like that up north. And we go there sometimes, so they're really quite active. Spend some time in there.
We already have. We already have.
Oh,
we investigated that about a month ago prior to it opening. He's got haunted dolls in there. He's got a shop called the Voodoo World of Oddities.
Oh, this sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's the Voodoo World of Oddities, located in Rio Town, part of Lansing, Michigan. He's got haunted dolls. He's got this one doll named Sarabina that just constantly pegs our K2 meter. And so, as far as actual paranormal activity, we haven't caught a lot there yet, except for that one doll that keeps pegging our K2 meter when it gets near it. And it isn't anything that's like in the shop. You know, you always try to debunk, okay, is this an electrical outlet? Is it something else that's making me think that it's this doll? Well, we would move this doll to different parts, you know, throughout the shop, and wherever that doll is, it doesn't matter. It would set off our K2 meter when it got near it. So
have you got security cameras set up in there?
I did set some security cameras up on the night we investigated there, but I don't know if their cameras are active in there.
That would be a great thing to do.
The owner of the shop says that doll will frequently move by itself. So.
Wow. So is it just you and your team, or do you, like us, we are an events company, so to help pay for better locations, we run events? And I think I did suggest that to you last time, but I don't know, did you go through that, down that rabbit hole, or is it just you and your team at the moment?
Just me and our team at the moment. I did try that. There's a lot involved here in this state. You got to have permits. You have to have an LLC set up. There's so much more, I think, that you have to go through. A lot more hoops that you have to jump through here to set something like that up. So I would love to be able to do that. Literally, the Collingwood Art Center, I just spent $500 to reserve that location. So, and that's for like like 8 hours. But they use the money for a good cause to keep the building.
Yeah, yeah. That's, I mean, if you've got like a team of your team and a couple of guests, 10 guests, that does help with the cost of stuff as well. And then you build up a nest egg, and then you can go for bigger and better locations. And then, if you're ever interested in maybe talking about stuff, it probably is different your end because you're in America. Like, we got insurance and stuff like that. But yeah, my husband could talk to you, or even Dan. He might even talk to you about it if you're interested in setting something like that up, because they watch these shows, don't they? The public, and they all have a go and use the equipment, and it's good to do it in a respectful and safe way, and people that know what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, it's everyone's dream to, get sponsored so you don't have to front all the money. I'm actually currently unemployed right now, so I'm kind of in a pickle at the moment financially. But
hey, if this takes off, this could be your calling, Ben.
Oh yeah, that's a dream of mine.
Yeah,
I could do paranormal full time. It's a hobby.
Yeah, dream. Living the dream. Talking of dreams, what is your dream investigation? If you go anywhere in the world, where would you like to visit and go?
The catacombs.
Yeah.
Whether it be in Italy, I think Italy and France both have catacombs there.
Yeah.
That would be cool to visit those. Or a castle of some kind. That's definitely on a bucket list too, is a castle.
Yeah. It's the history of a place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get your name Strongwolf, may I ask?
I was 15 years old. We were at a powwow. One of my mother's good friends at the time actually was doing a ceremony to give her a name, and then I just kind of got brought into the mix and was given the tribal name then, and just kind of, it's been something that I've stuck with for a long time. Out of high school, I was actually training to be a professional wrestler, and I was going to use that name in the ring, but I decided to get out of that industry because I didn't have health insurance. So that's the wrong industry to be in if you don't have health insurance.
No one wants to get hit in the face, Ben.
Yeah.
Oh dear. What is the most scary situation you've been in? Like terrified?
I haven't had that experience yet where something's personally tried to attack me or anything. I think a lot of that's because I have such an aura and a vibration that just, I don't know if I repel spirits or what. But I was actually at a cemetery last year, just walking around. Again, I was doing one of my solo investigations, and I might have brought a spirit home with me because there was 3 loud knocks on my headboard.
Oh no.
And then I started getting pinned to the bed. But being the person that I am, of like just strong-willed, I turned around, and while it was pinning me to the bed, I started laughing at it. And then it released. It released me, and then I don't know if it got pissed off and left, but that was the end of it.
That's what it is. That's it. If you're a negative person or you've got some traumatic experience in your life, that's when they get you, when you're really down. And attachments, it's all about territory as well, isn't it? You got to just tell it to go. I remember in my old house, I had my son, he must have been about 6 or 5 at the time, and I'd got an attachment. We were having like drops of water just landing on us, whether it was summertime or wintertime. Something grabbed my foot, then my husband's foot, and my son was saying, "Oh, it keeps saying my name, Mummy." And I goes, "What keeps saying your name?" In the middle of the night, it was saying, "It's saying my name." And then my oldest son, who must have been about, I think he was about 12, he kept getting punched in the stomach. I was putting crucifix in his bedroom, and I went around the whole house, And I was like, get the hell out of my house. This is my house. You're not welcome in my house. I was going in every single room, just really willing it to like go away. You're not allowed in here. And it's about territory, isn't it? And if they can't get that rise out of you of fear, like you said, you laughed at it. So it done one, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, there was a little fear factor there. I literally couldn't move. It held me down. I couldn't move an arm. I couldn't bat an eye or nothing. But the one thing I couldn't control was my emotions.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm feeling like I'm just being frozen in one spot. And I turn around and I cracked a smile and started laughing. And then I don't know, like that when doing that, I either made it scared it or just kind of basically told it powerless over me, basically. So
it's like the flight or fight. Is it called flight or fight mode as well? And I find when I'm really scared on investigations, I do just like have a hysteric. I'm the kind of person that laugh at a funeral. This is awful. I get so overwhelmed with emotion that I just laugh, and I think that helps stop anything attaching or any negativity, because you get so overwhelmed with maybe the fear or the situation that you're in that's your reaction. And
laughter is powerful medicine.
Yes, it is. Yeah, definitely. Has any of your team ever been scratched or attacked or had an experience with a spirit that was a bit dodgy like?
Our medium, he's been scratched. He's been punched. A lot of stuff has happened to him, and I think because he can see the spirits, and they know who he is and they know what he's there to do. Generally, when he goes into a place, if he knows it's bad, and he can tell the difference between a good spirit and a bad spirit.
Yeah.
If he knows it's bad, he knows that spirit knows that it's going.
Yeah.
So.
What's your views on mediums and psychics?
When I was young, I didn't believe in them. I thought it was all hocus pocus. I've sat down with some mediums that just blown me away. Literally would tell me, that my father came to her and was very apologetic. And how would a spirit know that?
Yeah.
Because my father passed away 2012. No, I'm sorry, 2013, excuse me. I've never had a good relationship with my father because he was never around. So, I mean, it was something that I'd never really, it didn't hit me that hard. When my mother passed away, me and her had a really good relationship. It affected me so much so that, I got to the point where I was having suicidal thoughts. That's how bad it got. So, I got help for myself in that time, and learned some coping mechanisms when I'm really down. So, very important to get help if you're having thoughts like that. So,
yeah.
Nonetheless, apparently my father came through and was very apologetic for not being there. So how she knew that my father, one, was dead, and two, that he was apologizing, is just, wow.
Yeah.
This person's really good.
Yeah. I've mixed thoughts on mediums and psychics. There's wannabe psychics, isn't there? And they have no truth or any substance to what they're saying or thinking, and they're pretty obvious like that. But then there are mediums that will tell you something like your experience and like, wow, that is spot on. You really have truth and have some sort of substance of what you're saying. So it's easy to sniff out the Billy bullshitters to the ones that are actually real. Definitely. Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like there's a little, some that are in between that, may have an off day with a reading. They might have psychic abilities, but they're just not getting the right message. Those are the ones, like if I, because I have abilities, but I haven't fully honed in on them and fully developed them. So I wouldn't go out in the world and tell people that I have gifts
No.
unless, I was 100% confident in being able to give a reading. And so there's a fine line between being really good,
Yeah.
which there's, I think, 5 minutes from me. There's a place that sells like all these crystals and rocks and stuff like that. And there's a medium that works there, and apparently she's really, really, really good. So much so that she's booked up a year and a half in advance before you
Wow.
can see her. And so she's like really busy, but you know that she's got to be spot on every time if she's that good. Whereas, I mean, a lot of it probably depends on how much you practice it too.
Yeah. You say they can develop. Everyone has a certain amount of psychic ability, and everyone just sort of chooses not to even tap into it because you're either scared of it or it's just something that you're not really want to go down that road. I mean, say past life progression, for instance. It could have been I was in New York and I found my way about just naturally. I thought that I'd been there before, but is that something that could be developed? I don't know. Or when, like, you're an investigator just like me, you see a ghost, does that mean that we're open to that? Are we psychic, or do we see things? I think it pops in and out, and some people are more stronger than others in that ability. Do you think? Yeah.
Now, like, personally, I've never seen a spirit with my own eyes. I've never heard a spirit with my own ears, other than through the equipment.
Yeah.
I believe a lot of that has to do with we as humans, we can only see a certain spectrum of light. So our cameras, when they can record stuff, they see a lot more than we can with our own eyes. And so that's why it's important that I review all the footage that we get,
Yeah.
which sometimes can take a long time. If I have 18 cameras and they run for 6 hours straight, I got a lot of footage I got to go through.
You have, haven't you?
So
it's the quest, isn't it? The quest for life after death. You refuse to believe that that's it, Ben, don't you? Refuse to believe that when we're dead, we're dead. There's got to be something else.
right, and
Yeah.
there's such an unknown, though. I mean, could it actually be our spirit that's on the other side trying to communicate? Is our energy able to communicate in such a way that our spirit might have crossed on, but there's something still there?
Yeah.
It's just, there's such an unknown until mankind develops the spirit the technology to literally cross over to the other side. I mean, other than, I guess that's what people have been trying to do for a long time in the paranormal field.
Yeah.
But you have to wonder, is it those spirits crossing back over into our realm, or is it our technology that's crossing over into their realm?
Yeah.
So it's like there's just so much unknown there.
There's different ideas, isn't there? There's the stone tooth fairy. Like, if you went to work every day and you died on the way there, but you're in your mind and in your spirit, you're still going to work, and then one of your work colleagues turns around and you're stood there doing your job, and then they look around again and you're not there. So the walls of like playing a story of their life, and they don't know that they're dead. And then there's the intelligent spirits, isn't there, that do know that they're dead, and they want to get in touch with you and use you and react to your equipment and stuff like that. And then there's also elementals, isn't there, and spirits of the earth and things like that. Have you ever come across anything like that?
Oh, a lot, especially doing woodland investigations. There was one investigation I was walking with it was just literally me and my medium. We were out because he was trying to help me see what I could feel, or he was trying to figure out my abilities. And I kept seeing this little thing out in the woods. It would like appear and reappear and disappear. It looked like one of those little Christmas gnomes.
An They call them nymphs. They're imps, aren't they? We have them in Ireland. They have nymphs and imps and.
So yeah, it was whatever this thing was. It looked like a Christmas gnome that would appear in and out at a different location. Just a little small thing. And my medium goes, "Oh, that's an element. That's an elemental."
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have skinwalkers out there?
Here in Michigan, we have something called the Dog Man.
Ooh, is he like a werewolf?
Something like that. Yeah. We don't have any skinwalkers. I think they're more like most of them are like in the western part of the country, which I don't know if that's the same similar thing, but I also in my field I run into a lot of cryptid researchers. So and they go hunting for, the Michigan Dogman or Bigfoot. So I've never encountered one. I did a solo investigation in a haunted woods, and I saw this wolf print, literally bigger than the palm of my hand. And there was a few more that led up into this one trail. I didn't go down it. I went down the next trail into this little clearing, and I set up this little camp. I had cameras pointed every which direction and whatnot. Sun had just gone down. I'm in the middle of the woods by myself, so it's a little uneasy feeling as it is. We don't really have anything here as far as wildlife that I got to worry about. Maybe a coyote at the most. But generally the coyotes here aren't much bigger than a house cat, so they're more scared of humans than we are, of them. But I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I'm starting to hear wolves. I'm like, we don't have wolves in this part. So, I'm not armed or nothing other than a little pocket blade that I had on me, a pocket knife. I'm like, well, this can't be good. But it was very weird because it started sounding like it was coming from this side of the woods, and then it was sounding like it was coming from the other side of the woods, and then it was just kind of like all over the place, like it was everywhere. These wolf sounds. I'm like, what the heck is this? This has got to be that Wolfman thing. I don't know.
You didn't sleep much that night.
I'm like, I just scream as loud as I can. You don't want none of strong wolf.
You do send your wife a pinpoint, don't you? Because you don't want it to turn into some sort of deliverance episode, or like you fall down a canyon and you have to gnaw off your own arm, or you got to tell people where you're going if you're going lone wolf, no pun intended.
Yeah. Well, I mean, generally, I'll be live when I go out. I'll be live on my Facebook page, so people can comment and they can see what's going on. So somebody will at least know where I'm at.
Jeez.
But nonetheless, I packed all my equipment back up in my little. I have this little thing that I cart all my equipment around with when I'm going in buildings. Just a cart, basically. So I hightailed it out of there. So.
Oh, what's the legend of the Wolfman? Is it kind of like if he bites you, you're a wolf too, or is it just he's going to eat you?
I don't know the legend. The legend are people they see the Wolfman. And the legend I think goes is if you get close enough to see its eyes, then you'll be eaten. So you'll get possessed or something. So. I'd have to go to. There was a series on the Discovery Channel called "These Woods Are Haunted."
Yeah, I've been watching the first episode of that.
And there's a couple that talk about the Dog Man. I'm not sure which episode it is. And so a lot of what they claimed in that series, I was experiencing when I was out in the woods. That's the other reason why I was out of there. So, because I was in the woods by myself,
Yeah.
but
I'm gonna watch that after this, I think. No, you've told. Now you've said about it. I started watching the first episode of it. I
Mhm.
think she was in an asylum or something like that, and the dog started acting weird. I'm not sure. I'll have to have another look. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I was going to say, do you want to? You've got a YouTube channel, haven't you? What else have you got going on?
I have our YouTube channel is Ghost Contact Paranormal. It can be tricky to look us up on YouTube because when you type our name in, a lot of different channels pop up. But there's supposed to be a way you can actually go into YouTube and search instead of like video, search by channel, and that would definitely bring our channel up. You can see a lot of different things that we've investigated. I'm actually getting into film production side of it. So a couple of years ago, I hadn't quite got that far yet. So there was anytime we would get some evidence, it would just be like a single raw piece of video that I would upload on YouTube. Now I can more make a little bit of a film production behind of it.
Yeah.
I got our own theme song. I like the theme song of your startup, by the way. That
Yeah.
was really
I'm going
cool.
to get my husband to have a word with you after the show and see if we can show you, help you out with a few bits like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Matt Barron actually made that for us.
Yeah. I actually got a really cool theme song. I wish I could play it for you right now, but it's actually really cool.
Is it original?
Yeah, I made it through it was actually an app on my phone where you can mix little different sounds together. So it's actually it came out really good.
Oh, go! Yeah, I look forward. You gonna play it or?
I can't play it because it's on my YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
So I would have to find a way to link StreamYard with YouTube. So
Yeah, well, we'll have a look after. I'll speak to you after the show.
yeah.
What about a website? Have you got a website?
I did. I think it's down now. But there's here in the U.S. There's like a national. It's kind of like a database of paranormal groups, and it goes by state by state. So I didn't believe it when I signed up and I looked at our own. There's like over 50 teams in our state alone. So
It's all about getting your evidence out there, Ben. It really is. You get strong evidence, and you got all the cameras. You got it all going for you.
Yeah. The weirdest part is the paranormal. It seems to happen more when you least expect it.
Does.
When you go into an investigation, you're expecting evidence to happen. That's when everything goes completely quiet. It's like when you least expect it, that's when you're going to capture something.
What's the best piece of evidence that you've caught? I know you caught that nurse, but is there anything else that springs to mind?
Well, I one of our first investigations, I think I might have caught the Hat Man. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
No.
Kind of got like the you could research that too. Kind of got like the hat that looks like the and like trench coat of like the Undertaker, the WWE wrestler. So that's what his shadow looks like. He looks like the Undertaker with glowing eyes. And so I caught this. It looks like either a cowboy or a hat man guy out in the woods. And what's very strange is I was on two different investigations within weeks of each other at two different places of woods, and I caught the same hat man. So I'm like, this guy's either following me around or he just likes to wander a lot.
You caught his attention.
Yeah.
Do you have any clue of what he is or who he is?
I think the story of the Hat Man is a lot like Bigfoot, where he's just interdimensional being that can travel from place to place to place. It's I started off a skeptic of Bigfoot too. I've never seen a Bigfoot, and I'm one of those people that like unless I can have some visual proof or it
Yeah.
happening to me. With a spirit, obviously, a spirit is a spirit. If you capture it, you know that's that. But with Bigfoot, there's a lot of people that can dress up or whatever, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of hoax stuff going around, you know.
Yeah.
So that's my take on cryptid stuff, though.
Oh dear. I was going to say to you, I'm a proud member of Global Ghost Hunt. Have you heard of it?
No. I think you might have mentioned something to it before we've gone on air, but I've just been so busy trying to find work, I haven't had much chance to do anything. So
It would be an ideal opportunity. So you get 2 hours worth. I think the next one is in October from the 19th to the 29th. So you can pick a slot then. You find a location. If it's free, then it's fine for you, or you just find a location that you can film in. And 2 hours worth of your live investigation showcasing your team and what you guys can do, and it gets aired on all these different platforms all over the world, and that's in October. So I just thought I'd give you the heads up for that, because you would be a perfect candidate for that, definitely.
yeah.
Also, if you've got a bit of time on your hands and you want to stream like we're doing now, we're streaming to YouTube, Parapost. We've got Parapost 2 International, that's run by Brian Laverty, and you can we just make you an editor, and you can go in and just stream your live podcast or your live like stream of investigation on there, and then you get all the views and everything, and that would help you out as well. So we'll talk about that afterwards. I'm just putting that out there, just giving you the heads up. But yeah, it's all good, and it's all about creating a paranormal community as well. We all stick together, we all share our evidence and stuff like that, help each other out with tips and like things like that. So yeah, get you in there, Ben.
Definitely.
Okay, well, yeah. So I think thank you very much for having me. Is there anything you want to add? Where you off next? When's your next investigation?
At the end of the month, again, Collingwood Arts Center in Toledo, Ohio. That one's going to be our next big investigation. A lot of dark activity that's going to be in that building, so we're going to have to have extreme caution when we go on that one. Definitely look that one up. Collingwood Arts Center.
Will do. I've got that written down actually.
We got a big paranormal convention that we're going to. We actually have our booth set up with our sign and everything. In August in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. It's going to have all the top paranormal groups and teams there. You know, the people from TAPS will be there. I'll get to meet Bill Chappell from Ghost Adventures will be there. Jack Osborne will be there.
Oh, wow! Oh, I'm dying to get hold of Jack. I keep sending him stalky messages on his page, and he's having none of it.
Oh. Damn. But yeah, he'll be there, so I'm really excited to see him and get a picture with him. So we're gonna
out there.
What's that?
Paracons. You got loads of paracons out in America. We've hardly got anything. I think we've got Sage, and we've got Festival of the Unexplained, which is this year, which I'm really looking forward to and going to that one. But it's so exciting. You got such exciting stuff out there. We really have. Well, who's your favourite? Like TV on the TV.
Favorite TV personality. I'm probably gonna have to say Aaron Godwin from Ghost Adventures. I really like him because me and him got a lot. I feel like me and him got a lot in common. I make some of the most goofiest faces you'll ever see on our investigations. So Second would be Steve Gonzalez from Ghost or from Taps. I like those guys. And
Yeah.
last year, I almost got booked on an episode of Kindred Spirits.
Oh, wow.
Their director reached out to me and asked me about, my Native American background.
Yeah.
And wanted to know if I had like any background in shamanism, which I don't. So, but they were looking for a Native American shaman.
Oh.
They almost booked me on episode of Kindred Spirits.
I was apprehensive when you were answering that question because I'm thinking if he says Zach Bagans, that's it. Our friendship is over. Because he's not on my like list at the moment.
Yeah, apparently, I guess it's a lot with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm open-minded. I don't hate any of the investigators, no matter where they come from or who they are. I know a lot of people hate him. I don't really hate him. I really don't use the same style of investigating that he does. I do know that there's some controversy.
There is controversy, definitely. It's a strong word. I don't think you should bogart the paranormal. It should be for everybody, and everyone should express what they want to express. And just going about it the wrong way, I think that's my personal opinion.
But I definitely like to stay open, because let's say 2 years from now they want to bring me on their show. If they see that, they look at my history and see that I've been bashing on them, so then they're not gonna want me on their show. Not that I mean.
I backed you into a corner there. Don't worry about it. Let's change the subject. Let's talk about Nick Groff.
I like everybody, so I try not to judge people. I'm probably the least judgmental person that you'll ever meet. The one thing I guess I like about Zach Bagans is he's really good at speaking. But there's a lot of things that I wouldn't do that he does. So
I like Katrina Weidman because she's got balls of steel. She is an investigator, and she just gets in there and does it and gets the job done. And that's what I like about the girl. I really do like her. And she does it well.
That's kind of like Chip Coffee. He has no filter, so I like Chip Coffee.
Oh, Chip, yeah. Oh, yeah, he's a funny dude, isn't he?
Yeah. He'll be at the Paracon too, so I'll be glad to meet him. So.
Oh wow! Oh, it's exciting. You enjoy it, and one day you might be up there, Ben.
Yeah.
Your dream.
If there's a guy in, I like the guy in England. What's his name?
Barry Guy.
Barry Fitzgerald or whatever his name is.
Yeah, he's actually a representative of Global Ghost Hunt. Yeah.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he is. He is. So if you do that, you might be able to do a podcast. He might come on your show, just hinting out there. You never know. He's sweet talking.
Very cool.
Barry Fitzgerald. Yeah. So October.
There's two famous people that I actually stay in contact with a lot, and actually will talk back and frequently with. And that's what's his name? I'm drawing a blank at the moment.
I take time. Give us a hint. What's he look like?
The young kid from Ghost Adventure or Ghost Hunters.
Ghost Hunters.
No,
it's Ghost Finders, isn't it? I can't think of his name.
I'm drawing a blank.
Anybody out there? Anyone watching? Does anyone know who we're talking about? Anyone watching? Can you put it up there? I can't remember his name. No. I tell you what, I'll put it in the comments afterwards because that's going to bug me now.
Yeah.
You can see his face, can't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've also just recently got into it's a little off paranormal, but I got into rock hounding. So because they're like going out and finding like crystals and stones and things like that, because of the properties they have in them, and people use them a lot for protection, especially on an investigation. So I kind of started getting into rock hounding and trying to find cool rocks and crystals and things like that.
Oh.
The state doesn't have a lot. I'd like to go to Australia one of these days and go searching for opals. Those things are nice.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, someone found a chunk of gold off of Western Shore down here once. He's allowed to keep it as well. And every time we go down the beach, I'm like, boys, look out for some gold.
Yeah.
You never know. Never know what you can find. Fossils and all sorts. Yeah. Definitely. Well, right then. So thank you for your time. I think we're going to leave it at that. So if you want to find Ben Strongwolf Rodriguez, check out his YouTube channel. And also if you want to go on an event, check out portaltotheparanormal.co.uk. And see what we've got. I think the next one is Fort Woodley. I'm almost sure on the 27th, if anybody's interested in going on that one. And yes, thank you so much. And also a shout out to Global Ghost Hunt. We're actually in the midst of it now. And we've got an October event as well. So any teams watching that want to sign up for the October event, which starts on the 19th to the 29th of October, check out Global Ghost Hunt. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thanks you.
A lot. It's been an honor. I enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you. So if you'd like to just stay behind, and we'll have a little chin wag after. And thank you, everybody, for watching.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.